In November of 1969, an employee at an unknown hotel entered a room for a regular cleanup. However, upon opening the door, her screams were heard all throughout the building. Inside was a dead body, horribly mutilated. The hotel called police and found that the victim had been shot, stabbed 12 times, and strangled with a rope before his body was set on fire. But this was nothing new to them. Across Mexico City, several men had been found dead in their hotel rooms, all strangled, clearly the work of a serial killer. The killer would later be known as the Lone Strangler, and between 1969 and 1970, strangled 15 men suspected of being homosexual. What made this victim different was the sheer brutality of his corpse. His name was never found, despite being at a hotel. No one claimed his body, and he would later fade away when the last victim was uncovered, and the Lone Strangler disappeared forever, never being caught. The Mexico City John Doe is one of many, who are simply known as the unidentified. In Berlin Street, Mexico City, a man in a red sweatshirt, accompanied by another male, was carrying a bag along the sidewalk. The man dropped it off in a bush, and both of them continued on, leaving the bag behind. Residents in the area walked by the bush without touching it. Many who saw the bag either thought nothing of it or thought it was filled with clothes for the homeless guy that had been living in the neighborhood for months. 3 days later, someone approached the bag, suspicious that no one was taking it. But when they picked it up, it was very heavy. Curiosity got the best of them, and when they opened it, they discovered the body of a little girl. Initial forensic scientists discovered the girl to have been 2 years old when she was discovered. Her teeth were in near perfect condition, concluding that the family of the little girl took very good care of her health. However, they discovered other harrowing facts. The little girl was severely malnourished before she had died. Along with that, she had been sexually assaulted and beaten. Autopsy reports determined blunt force trauma as the cause of death. Investigators worked quickly, hoping her identity would be found, that someone would claim her. They looked through missing persons reports from every state, even expanding their search to other countries. Reconstructions made of her face were made to look alive to possibly help the effort. Photos of her spread all over the nation, but weeks went by. No one knew her identity. Whoever she was, whatever her short life had been, it had ended violently and alone. Investigators gave her the name Angela. After asking witnesses, they found that the bag was left by a man in a red sweater. However, none of the witnesses knew who he was. Combing through camera footage, they found many people looking at the bag itself. It's worth noting though that the bag was seen in different spots. On the 21st of March, the bag was seen on top of the bushes. The following day, it was spotted in between the bushes and a tree on the ground. And while you could say it simply fell, it was about 6 feet away from the original location. The same day, a witness claimed to seeing the suitcase by the bush. He left to go ride his bike around, and when he came back, he saw it in a different location, this time against the wall across the other side of a driveway. Finally, another day passed, and it was moved to the curb in between 2 cars, closer to the original spot. Someone was moving the bag, and it can be assumed that they were deliberately trying to get people to check inside. They wanted people to find the body. The suspects can be seen here. It was at 10:04 in the morning. One individual was waiting, as another went to the bushes to pick up the suitcase. Then, they started walking next to each other. presumably to go drop off the suitcase to the third location. It's not certain from the blurry quality of the video, but to me, it seemed like one of them was laughing or smiling when this happened. Nevertheless, this was all police had to work with. And unfortunately, this was all they ever got. The suitcase itself was blue and from Ralph Lauren. And inside, besides Angela, were some expensive baby clothes. It's safe to say that these two men were directly involved in the murder. But could they be related in any way to Angela? Well, it's certainly not impossible, but I don't think it's likely, seeing as DNA evidence can easily link two people together. Another theory is that the little girl was being trafficked. 70% of victims of human trafficking are women, mainly used for sex. And in the Americas, 1/3 of all human trafficking victims are children. It's not a reach to say that Angela could have been trafficked and ended up in Mexico City, which is one of the biggest cities and routes with human trafficking in the country. On the other hand, what makes this hard to believe is that all evidence suggests that the suspects wanted her to be found, moving the bag 4 different times. Angela was buried on April 25th, 2016, the International Day Against Child Abuse, 1 year later after she was found, which is an uncommon practice in Mexico, as unidentified people are buried in mass graves after a few weeks. But the judge refused, giving her a proper funeral, and although we may never know her true name, Angela still lives in the hearts of many. On Sunday, June 30th, 2019, Will, a software engineer, was on an airbed outside of his house in Clapham, southwest London. Will was drinking beer, talking to his roommate about an app on his phone that could identify the model and route of any passing plane. When he tested it on the first plane he saw, he noticed something strange. A suitcase, or perhaps a piece of machinery, had fallen out of the plane and was plummeting rapidly towards the ground. Will shot up from his airbed and raced to where the object had fallen. About 900 feet away, a resident of Offerton Road in Clapham was going about his day when he heard a loud noise outside. He looked out the window and saw what he thought was a homeless man sleeping in the garden. Then, he realized there was blood all over the walls. A minute earlier, a man named John was sunbathing in the garden. The man was asleep when he felt a huge impact next to him. John was shaken. Less than a meter away from him was the body of a man who had fallen from the sky. John was never the same ever again. The body fell 35,000 feet from the air, but it wasn't in hundreds of pieces. It was frozen solid. According to witnesses, the body was an ice block, so much so that there was a crater where the impact was. And because it was so preserved, they managed to recreate a composite image of what the man looked like. Officers released this image, hoping to get an idea of the man. But weeks followed, and no one reported knowing him. But due to some evidence, it can be theorized where he came from or how he fell from the plane. The plane was Kenya Airways flight KQ-100, a Boeing 787 Dreamliner that had left Nairobi, the capital of Kenya, around 8 hours earlier before it started to fall. Police made contact with the airport where the plane landed and dispatched staff to investigate the plane exterior. They checked the wheel wells. Inside the tight space, they found a khaki rucksack belonging to the man. Inside the rucksack weren't any significant clues, just some bread, water, soda, and a pair of shoes. But they also found Kenyan currency, and a bottle of Fanta was found to be sold by a Kenyan shop, confirming the man most likely came from Kenya. The flight had originally come from South Africa. The other possibly identifying clue was letters written on the strap of the rucksack, MCA. It's likely that those were his initials. Further testing of the body, including DNA samples and records of his fingerprints, were sent to Kenya. the DNA results came back first, negative. Many jobs in Kenya require employees to be fingerprinted, so police had better hopes there. But when authorities in Kenya reached back, the fingerprints weren't on the database either. The body took on the name London John Doe. Out of other options, Specialist Crime Unit Officer Graves took on the case. He traveled to Kenya, hoping to find any scrap of information that could help identify this man. His first stop were the slums around the airport. It's no surprise that this John Doe did not have any money to afford a plane ticket to London. 1/3 of the population of Kenya live on less than $2 a day. Ironically, the London John Doe landed in one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in London. After looking through the slums and mortuaries around Kenya, Graves went inside the airport to see how John Doe got inside. Accessing CCTV cameras, it revealed that no one entered the plane while it was departing, but the plane sat for 5 hours out of camera sight beforehand. Graves theorized that John Doe was an employee of the airport, but the airport told him that all employees were present and accounted for. If a stowaway avoids being crushed by the tires, within 25 minutes of takeoff, the temperature outside the plane can reach around -60 to -70 degrees Fahrenheit. If that doesn't kill them, the air pressure 35,000 feet in the air is 4 times lower than sea level, leading to hypoxia. If they somehow manage to survive all of that, a stowaway is most likely unconscious as the plane is landing, and at that point, the plane's landing gear will extend, where falling to their death becomes almost guaranteed. There's a lot of mystery surrounding the man who fell from the sky. What we do know is that somewhere in Kenya, there was a man desperate enough to climb into the wheel well of a plane, hoping it would carry him to a better life. Instead, his journey quite literally came crashing down, and to this day, the identity of the man remains unsolved. It was a cold afternoon on October 25th, 1995. While the town of Liverpool in England was getting ready for Halloween in the upcoming week, at 4 p.m., a man walked up to Liverpool Cathedral's Western Room's entrance. In his hands was a can of gasoline and a box of matches. No one was around to see the man, but witnesses nearby saw smoke coming from inside the church. They rushed over, thinking a fire was spreading, ready to engulf the building. But moments later, they were horrified to see that the smoke was coming from a man who was covered in flames. Someone present, named Peter McCabe, attempted to extinguish the flames when he heard the man's dying words.
"My name is Kenny Williams, and I am of no fixed abode. Please, look after my wife and kids."
The man was rushed to the hospital, where he was pronounced dead. When police arrived at the scene, no signs pointed to a suspect. Witnesses reported no one fleeing the scene either, so it was concluded Kenny Williams burned himself alive using the gasoline and matches that were found by his corpse. But no other items were found with him. No ID or name, anything that could give investigators a piece of his life. They first checked his fingerprints against the local and national records. Believing the man was homeless due to his last words being, "I am of no fixed abode," they talked with various hostels for the homeless in Liverpool, local drug rehab clinics, social security, doctors and dentists who care for the homeless, and a local magazine, The Big Issue, who catered for the homeless and people who can't afford regular news. No one knew Kenny Williams. This case is rare, in which the unidentified body gave someone their name prior to the death, and despite that massive lead, nothing was learned afterwards. But what if Kenny Williams wasn't his name? There's a very good chance the man burned his throat while on fire, making his speech fairly unintelligible. The witness at the scene, Peter McCabe, may have misheard the man. His name could have been Benny or Lenny. I've read online that the man might have said that he was from Kenny, as in Kensington, and his name to be William. The articles online also don't mention if the man had an accent or not, and just because he was homeless doesn't mean he was local. Another thing to point out was that Kenny Williams claimed to have a wife and kids, meaning 3 things. Either his family did not want any association with him, his family doesn't know he's dead, or he was simply lying. But there's no way to know for sure. As of 2020, the case is still open, but not a single lead has come through. Kenny Williams remains unidentified till this day. Thank you to everyone for watching. I'll use this time to let you guys know that I have a Patreon. If you want to support me other than watching, for as little as $2 a month, you can get early access and ad-free videos, updates of what's to come, behind the scenes stuff, and much more in the future. You can click the link down below or go to patreon.com/Thaddeus with 3 S's. Thank you, and I'll catch you guys later.